Ah, okay. So we already found out how can you derive a velocity in terms of a vector components. Okay. Next we are moving on to instantaneous velocity. Write the heading, children. Instantaneous velocity. Whatever we studied in the motion in a straight line, same thing. Instantaneous velocity. That is velocity at a particular time. Okay. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can you increase that picture size?
This when I teach you, I will increase. Okay. Now you don't look there. Okay. Now let me finish this. What we did, then I will show you. Okay. Because I need to write. That's why I made it too small. Instantaneous velocity V. So vector V. You can write it down. Vector V. Instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous velocity vector V is the limit of the average velocity. Limit of average velocity. Limit of average velocity. Limit of average velocity as the time interval approaches to zero. Time interval approaches to zero. So instantaneous velocity is the limit of average velocity as the time interval approaches to zero. If you just take an average velocity of a particle and just imagine the time is zero, that means it is going to be within fraction of second or something like that, very negligible time. Then in that case, that particular average velocity, we can say it as instantaneous velocity. So this is also mathematical manipulation. We are using limit. You have already learned limit delta t tends to 0. Limit delta x tends to 0. So we can represent instantaneous velocity in motion in a plane this way. Therefore, we can write instantaneous velocity v is equal to limit delta t tends to 0. Delta t tends to 0. Del r, that is change in position, divided by del t. Del t is equal to dr by dt. So this is the expression of instantaneous velocity. Okay. Limit delta t tends to 0. Del r divided by del t is equal to dr by dt. That means you can write, that means it is the, you can define another way. That means it is the derivative of, the position vector, derivative of, again differentiation, position vector with respect to time. With respect to time. Thus, magnitude of instant velocity. Magnitude of instant velocity modulus vector v is equal to v. So no derivation. This is parallelogram law. We are using parallelogram law. V is equal to square root of vx squared plus vy squared. Okay. Now let us see the diagram, how we can represent that. So V squared by Vx square. Okay. So this is the depiction of the instantaneous velocity, like one by time. So if you look at here, at a particular time t1, just think it's a particular time t1, the average velocity is this way. That is, r is the initial vector, r. This is in the textbook. You don't have to copy now. It is in the textbook. Okay. Figure 4.13 if you open your textbook. So I just explained to you. If you look at the book, you may not identify, but that's why I'm representing to you. Here, initial position of R1. Therefore, this is the change in displacement in a particular time t. Now, time is slowly reducing. So, at this point, this resultant vector is little more bigger. Now, time is reducing. Next, slowly, we are taking the change in displacement in a small time. Now you can see, if you look at this vector is going on reducing. Similarly, next time, as time increases, the position is changing. First R to R1, then R1 to R2, then R3, then last, when delta T tends to 0, you can see here, there is not even a vector is not mentioned here. So at this point, the velocity and the position, the first velocity, what we calculated, everything becomes same. So this is instantaneous velocity. So this is what we have to depict instantaneous velocity in the vector notation, in the vector picture. Okay, depict. So first, so here T1 is greater than T2 greater than T3 greater than T0. You can say so delta T tends to 0. So this is how we depict. Okay, so according to time, if you take it, the resultant change in displacement going on reducing. Now instantaneous velocity you can depict at a fraction of a second. No need of taking the difference between the position. No need of taking difference between any time. You can just say at t, this is the velocity. So at t, this is the velocity. So this is the picture of instantaneous velocity. Okay. So in order to understand that, only that. So we have already completed. So instantaneous velocity, the magnitude of velocity we can find out by taking the square root of Vx squared plus Vy squared. Okay, what we have learned. Okay, so now we are moving on to acceleration. How do we represent acceleration in the case of that? Clear? So next heading, acceleration. Let me check. 1 minute. So you already know in a straight line motion, acceleration is the change in velocity by time. So here what is only difference is that we represent in terms of components. That's it. Nothing is important, only just explain in terms of components. Okay, children, I just take my... So write down acceleration. Here also acceleration we represent in terms of components as average acceleration. We represent as average acceleration. Okay. So you can write down in two-dimensional motion. In two-dimensional motion, average acceleration. In two-dimensional motion, average acceleration. Average acceleration now average acceleration a, small a and suffix a, put the vector sign ab is equal to vector v2 minus vector v1 divided by t2 minus t1. Average acceleration is equal to v2 minus v1 divided by t2 minus t1. Instead of that, we can write it delta v vector by delta t. Delta v, let delta t. Where v1 and v2, where v1 and v2 are velocities at the time t1 and t2 respectively. v1 and v2 are the velocities at time t1 and t2 respectively. Why we are taking average acceleration? Because acceleration changes. It's a non-uniform motion. We are not representing the straight line motion. It is a non-uniform motion. That is why. Okay. So, if you go to their textbook, we can see, we can represent acceleration in terms of vector components. In terms of vector components. So, we take it where A is equal to, you can write down, A is equal to, below that, by resolving into vector components, don't look here, I'll tell you what you have to write, I'll tell you. By resolving A into two components, we can represent acceleration is equal to Vxi, we can, since it is the V2, V1, we can write Vx2i plus Vy2j minus Okay, we are back. There's a network issue. Can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Huh. Okay, shall we go? Continue. Okay, so I hope you understood. Now, what is the next step? How velocity we did the same thing. Same components, take it. Same that way. Components and y components. Okay. Next step, you can write it as A is equal to V x2 minus Vx1I plus Vy2 minus Vy1j divided by delta t. What is the
Ma'am,
next step? Hello? Yes?
ma'am, there's a change from what you gave earlier.
Got change, huh? What change?
Earlier you gave
Uh,
like
uh,
no doubt, no doubt.
here, what is the difference here? Velocity component. Okay. Earlier it was x2 minus x1. Correct? Now it is velocity because acceleration is equal to velocity. Change in velocity delta t. Same only. There's no change. Now what we can do directly, I am going to skip. You can just write like this. Otherwise, simply we are repeating. So del Vx by del Vy. Instead of this, we can directly go to here. And finally, this is how we are getting that equation. Del Vx is equal to, what is that? Oh, where we started now?
Ma'am, in the previous step, we need J cap, right?
V
J cap.
cap. Oh, I forgot to put the cap. Cap is there. Don't worry. I forgot to put the cap. Okay, that's
No,
it.
ma'am. In the next step, yeah, that.
That I forgot to put. Okay. So when we write this. Now, directly we can write this is equal to AXI plus AYJ. Okay. So, we resolved acceleration into components of acceleration of x-axis. That is x component of acceleration plus y component of acceleration. Okay. Okay. Similarly, now we can go for instantaneous acceleration. Therefore, similarly, we have instantaneous acceleration. Instantaneous acceleration. I'm not going for detail. We can just summarize applying the limit. Same it is. Only thing that term is different. Limit delta t tends to 0. Del v by del t. How do you? There it was delta x. Here we have delta v. That is equal to in terms of our differentiation of velocity. dv by dt. So that is instantaneous acceleration. Diagram I am not going to show you. It is in the textbook. It is same as it is. Only thing, instead of r, r1 we write v1, v2 or v0, v depending upon it. Okay. Now, equation of motion. 3 equations of motion. How can we represent in terms of vector? No derivation. I will just directly write that 3 equations. That's enough for us. Okay. We don't have to go for it. Go for the derivation. According to that, using the vector, how do you do? Okay. So here we consider a constant acceleration. In motion in a straight line, we were taking that 3 equation of motion in the case of a uniform motion. Here we are taking in the case of a uniform acceleration. That is only difference. Okay. So you can write down equations of motion in a plane. Equations of motion in a plane, or we can write in 2 dimension also. Both are same. Equations of motion in a plane. So, in 2 dimension, first we write introduction part, then we just write that equations. Okay. In 2-dimensional motion, two coordinates are used. Two coordinates are used. Two coordinates are used to represent the position of the particle. To represent the position of the particle. Position of the particle. With the position of the particle, the position of the next line, the position of the particle at any instant, position of the particle at any instant, is represented, at any instant is represented by a position vector, by a position vector. And it is a function of time. Position vector is a function of time. I hope you understood the meaning of function. Max, you have function of fx. Similarly, it is a function of time. Okay. Thus, R is therefore, R is the final position. R0 is the initial position. Just write down. R0 initial position. V0 initial velocity. V is final velocity. V0 initial velocity, V final velocity. And acceleration is A. Okay, A is acceleration. A is acceleration. Okay. Consider, write down, consider a particle, moves with a uniform acceleration. Consider a particle moves with a uniform acceleration. Moves with a uniform acceleration. Uniform acceleration. Okay. Let me see how much we have to complete today. Will we finish? I am checking on the time. Okay. So, what is the first equation of motion? Name. Do you remember first equation of motion name? What relation we call it? First equation V is equal to U plus AT. That is in straight line motion. What is the name of that relation? We call it one relation. What is that?
Velocity time.
Velocity time relation. Okay. So, first one, velocity time relation. Velocity time relation. So, by substituting all these values, we can write, we have acceleration is equal to V minus V0 by T minus 0. We can take initial time as 0. So, T minus 0, that is equal to V minus V0 by T. Now, what is the next step? AM, TM, cross multiply. Same it is. Only thing is we have to, after getting, we have to write it in components form. That's it. AT is equal to V minus V0. Therefore, V is equal to V0 plus AT. So that is the equation we already got. Now, we derive that into components. Therefore, in components, Vx is equal to V0x plus AXT. Vy is equal to V0y plus AYT. That's all. So that's over. So that is the velocity time relation. Okay.
Ma'am,
Uh,
in this chapter, numerical problems should be there.
there. After this numerical problem, we have already done that 3ti plus 3jk. You remember taking the dx by dt, dy by dt. Motion in straight line motion, we have done that.
Yes, ma'am.
So that the same thing we will do. Okay. By taking the derivative of x component, y component. Same it is. Okay. So we have to finish all this formula. Then only I can go there. It is there. Similarly, so I am not going for derivation. Similarly, similarly, second one, position time relation. Not derivation, we are directly just learn that thing. Position time relation means displacement time relation. Second equation. In straight line motion, you can write it. In straight line motion, that is one-dimensional motion. What is that? S is equal to ut plus half at square. This is the equation in straight line motion. Right there. Here, below that you can write here S. S is equal to position. S is equal to position vector. That we can write it as R minus R0. That is initial position, final position minus initial position. Because already we have written R0 is the initial position. So instead of S, we substitute R minus R0. That is the only difference we do. Therefore, we get vector R minus R0 is equal to, instead of U, we have V0t, then plus half AT square. Okay? Or we can write in terms of magnitude. So this is in terms of vector. In terms of magnitude, we can write R is equal to R0, take it to this side. So R0 plus V0t plus half AT square. The same equation can also write this way because we have to get this format, no? S is equal to ut. So we can keep final position here and then you can write the initial position added to this. Okay. Now, in components of R, x component, y component. X is equal to x0 plus v0 xt plus half axt t square. Y is equal to y0 plus v0 yt plus half ayt square. So that is over. Okay. Okay, children. So that is position time relation. And in equation of motion, we have only these two equations. V squared minus u squared also we can do See the time, otherwise we will continue this test. Any doubts so far here, children? It's okay. Are you okay so far? Okay. So in motion in two dimension, we have mainly these two equations. Third equation is not much used here. Okay. So we have only these two equations. So in your textbook only that is given. I will check it whether you have third equation of motion in in two-dimensional motion. So you have only two equations in the case of motion in plane. Okay. So you wind up the session. One more topic, then we complete this chapter and then problems. That's it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, children.